So hi everyone, welcome to our latest My AS My Life Facebook Live. Thank you for joining us. As I said, I'll give everyone time to start joining us. Do pop a comment in the comment section and say hi if you're joining us live. Let us know where you're watching from. So for anyone who's not watched these sessions before, my name's Zoe Clark. I'm Senior Self-Management Programme Officer here at NASS. And today I'm joined by Amber Guest. Hi Amber, how are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Do you want to say hi to everyone? Just say a little bit about yourself, to introduce yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, hi everyone. So my name's Amber Guest. I'm a research fellow at the University of Aberdeen, although actually I live in South Wales, which actually couldn't be further from Aberdeen. So I'm a remote worker there. And I'm a researcher that basically researches two projects. One of them is Making It Work, which you'll hear a lot about over the next half hour or so. And then the other one is looking at social factors that influence chronic pain, part of the CRISP project. But today I'll just be presenting some preliminary findings from the Making It Work project.
That's brilliant, thank you. Yeah, I liked my sneak preview last week, so I think it's going to be a really interesting session. So thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, it's going to be exciting this is the first time we've actually shown these findings to anyone, so it's breaking news.
Brilliant, exclusive for NASS, you heard it here first. That's fantastic, thank you. So yeah, for everyone joining us live, what we're going to do is I'll hand over to Amber in a minute for the presentation where she's going to share the project she's working on and the initial findings. And then we'll have time afterwards for a Q&A as well. So we'd love during the presentation, please do pop any questions that you have for Amber in the comments, and also share your experiences as well, because it's been really interesting hearing the results of the project's focus groups on different people's experiences of working with axial SpA and other long-term conditions. But it'd be great to hear from you. Do the findings resonate with you? Have you had similar experiences? Anything else you think that they should consider as well? So do get involved in the comments. Wonderful. And yeah, if you can't join for the whole session, then you can catch up afterwards, because the full video will stay on our Facebook page afterwards, and we'll also put it on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, and on our webpage, My AS My Life, so you can catch up afterwards. So I think after that intro, I think ready to hand over to you if you're ready to go, Amber.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Zoe. And I just wanted to echo what you said. It would be just so useful to get people's feedback in terms of if they agree, disagree, if they want to add anything. Like I say, these are super preliminary findings, and they can be, adapted at this stage before we do actually make the changes to the programme. So the timing of this meeting couldn't be more perfect, actually. So
fantastic,
cool.
Thank you.
I'll share my screen. I hope the technology works.
Yeah, I can see that all through. That's brilliant. So I'll switch my camera and mic off, and I'll join you afterwards for the Q&A.
Fantastic. Okay, so yeah, like I said, my name's Amber Guest. I'm a research fellow at the University of Aberdeen, and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the Making It Work project, and sort of the background behind it, and then also some of the preliminary findings. So arthritis is the leading cause of long-term work disability, with a major impact on a person's quality of life at work and at home. It's also the most common health reason why Canadians have to stop working. And this can have a tremendous consequence to people with inflammatory arthritis and their families, financially and in terms of personal well-being. People with arthritis deal with daily pain, stiffness and fatigue, which can make working difficult. Despite the importance of this problem, there are limited services available to people with arthritis to help them deal with employment issues. So the programme was developed to address these needs. So Making It Work Canada is a Canadian-based online self-management programme designed to support people with inflammatory types of arthritis to remain employed and live healthy and productive lives at work. To make sure the programme would meet the needs of people with inflammatory arthritis, the Canadian team conducted a series of group discussions with people who work and live with inflammatory arthritis. The content and activities of the Making It Work Canada programme were designed following the suggestions put forward by those people. And the overall goal of the programme is to improve the person's ability to perform their work and to help them remain employed for as long as they wish to do so. So the Making It Work Canada aims to improve participants' confidence in their ability to work with arthritis and manage problems at work because of their arthritis. It also aims to help identify and change the things that make it hard for participants to work or puts participants at risk of having to stop work because of their arthritis, and also improve participants' confidence and ability to request and obtain job accommodations. For example, asking employers for flexibility around starting times if participants find early mornings more challenging due to their condition. So in order to meet those aims, the content of the programme has been designed to provide participants with knowledge, skills and practice in order to better prepare them to handle the challenges of living and working with arthritis. Throughout the programme, participants will learn problem-solving and goal-setting techniques, the way fatigue and stress may affect workability and ways to manage it at work, different communication strategies to help talk with employers and co-workers to build support and ask for job accommodations, employees' legal rights and employers' legal obligations about disclosure, job accommodations and human rights, and also the basic principles of ergonomics, which is how equipment can be arranged for comfort and efficiency. So, for example, the use of a sit-stand desk for office workers. So this is the current programme, and it consists of an introduction module followed by 5 interactive modules for participants to complete in their own time. These modules are approximately 1 to 2 hours each, and they cover work and arthritis, dealing with fatigue, arthritis, stress and work, building supportive relationships at work, and optimising work conditions. So the Making It Work Canada programme also includes 5 online corresponding video group meetings and an online individual consultation with 2 health professionals. However, we are predominantly focusing on the online content for this project. So the Making It Work Canada programme was tested for effectiveness in a randomised control trial. The programme helped individuals feel like they were better able to meet their work demands over a period of 2 years, and it also reduced the likelihood of prolonged sickness absence. So we have 4 key aims for Making It Work Scotland. So we want to expand the current programme to include non-inflammatory musculoskeletal conditions, as well as inflammatory musculoskeletal conditions. So that includes things like fibromyalgia and osteoarthritis as well. To adapt the programme so it's specific to a UK context in terms of health and social care, legal frameworks, and also diversity and inclusion. To adapt the programme to encompass a wider variety of working circumstances, such as 0-hour workers, shift workers, and also self-employed people. And also to understand people's preferences in terms of the different ways the programme could be structured and accessed. So the first work package that we did was mapping work. And this is where we looked at the current script of the Making It Work programme, and we highlighted each bit of text that was specific to an inflammatory condition and may not be generalisable to other non-inflammatory musculoskeletal conditions, such as medications, that was specific to the Canadian health and social care context. So, for example, discussions of Canadian legal frameworks for mandatory job accommodations, and also that was specific to the work context, which did not necessarily generalise to a modern working context. We then summarised this work into 6 videos to use in the next work package. So the next work package was to conduct focus groups, which is basically group discussions. And it was to understand what changes need to be made to Making It Work to meet our 4 key aims. So during these focus groups, we showed 6 videos created from the last work package, describing different elements of the programme that may be needed to be adapted. In total, we conducted 6 deliberative focus groups, 4 of which were people who live with musculoskeletal conditions, and 2 focus groups were with healthcare professionals and also employers. So what I'm going to do now is talk about the Making It Work Scotland focus group findings for the rest of this presentation. We've now finished the focus groups and we're just in the process now of analysing the findings. So today I'm pretty much going to discuss the preliminary findings of these focus groups, And I just wanted to emphasize that they are preliminary because we haven't gone through each of the transcripts yet and analysed each of the transcripts. All we've done so far is just made very preliminary notes as to what we found from the study. So this is still very much work in progress. And I just wanted to make sure that that was highlighted. So what we found about the structure of the course is it would be better to break down the modules into smaller bite-sized modules. So at the moment, they're currently 1 to 2 hours each, and now people want them to be approximately 15 to 30 minutes per module. Interestingly, a pick and mix structure was preferred over a linear structure. So that's where people can choose modules that are most applicable to them and skip modules that are not as relevant. Signposting was mentioned time and time again to be used throughout the course. And so that was things such as legal advice, or things like if you're suffering from depression, and then you get signposted to different websites which will have much more information about those different elements. Also, no time limit on the completion of the course. Some courses you have to complete the course within, say, 30 days. Whereas they wanted it to be a lot more flexible in terms of how long it would take you to complete the course. And ideally for the programme to be accessible on a laptop, on a phone and on a tablet. So each time I'm talking through each of these things, then please just, if you do have any comments, just let us know if you agree with those things, if you disagree, if there's anything that we've missed, or if there's any sort of examples you wanted to provide. So based on the feedback we have received from the focus groups, this would be the new proposed structure of the Making It Work Scotland programme. So participants would have the choice on clicking of any of these modules, skipping modules that are irrelevant to them if that's necessary. We do have a lot of the current modules included, but we've actually added quite a few in, and also broken some modules down in terms of, as an example, disclosure in the workplace, which was included in one of the modules, but this would then be a separate module in case it wasn't as relevant to somebody. So in terms of access to the course, how someone would actually go about accessing the course, there's actually been no agreed consensus just yet. Possible suggestions we received was healthcare professionals, employers, online, social media, and charities, each with their own positives and negatives. The slight majority did favour the idea of going through healthcare professionals, with some reasons being that it validated the information that was being offered to them, and it was also equally as accessible to those who were self-employed or worked for smaller companies as those who work for larger companies who actually have occupational therapists. So this is something that we'll actually be exploring in a future work package. So it's not a huge problem that we haven't reached a general consensus just yet. The current course explains that your healthcare team is made up of 8 healthcare professionals, and they include specialists such as rheumatologists, which may also not be relevant to all musculoskeletal conditions. We therefore asked participants what they would like to see in terms of the healthcare team. Explaining that you have access to 8 healthcare professionals in the UK is setting high and unrealistic expectations. Participants said that it might be better to refer to your support circle, which includes healthcare professionals, but also includes things like third sector organisations, family, friends, and counselling services as a few examples. In terms of healthcare team, it actually may be better to create a script to go to the GP with, one where you've been able to describe the pain, the trends, and the impacts, and what you could ask for. So, for example, referrals to a physio or other specialists. Somebody mentioned a podiatrist, for example. Participants also mentioned that going through the fit note may be useful in terms of helping participants know what they need to say when they go to their GP for appointments. It was also really interesting that one of the biggest themes was participants wanting to increase their self-confidence. So confidence in knowing your rights, communication techniques to discuss job accommodations with employers and colleagues, and knowing their own abilities, so what they can manage, so that they can manage their problems at work. Multiple people also mentioned empowerment, with less focus on disability and more focus on ability. In terms of job accommodations, the current programme is very much focused on a 9-to-5 salaried office worker, with little focus on more varied work. So we asked participants what they would like to see in this module. We found that commuting to work needs to be addressed. So for example, driving with potentially using an automatic car, taking the bus if it is available, the issues around parking without a blue badge status, and the ability to work from home. Participants felt it was necessary to provide a few positive vignettes of office-based workers, of shift workers, of safety critical workers, and also of shop floor or factory workers. And then following this, an activity to create a printable self-assessment or self-management plan for your exact circumstances. The terminology used in current Making It Work programme uses terminology such as arthritis and arthritis map. So we asked participants what terminology they would want us to use to make it more inclusive to all musculoskeletal conditions. So as you can see, we got a large variety of terms, but most said as long as you explain what you mean in the introduction module. So for example, you could say, this course includes all people who have either an inflammatory musculoskeletal condition, such as rheumatoid arthritis, or a non-inflammatory musculoskeletal condition, such as fibromyalgia or osteoarthritis. In this course, we will refer to this as a musculoskeletal condition. So signposting was mentioned a lot by most participants. More signposting should be used throughout the course and in separate resource section. So this is sort of looking at things like UK charities, other support groups, legal advice, financial impacts and sick pay, mental health support, and training links to give to employers. So just some additional snippets that we got throughout the focus group. There should be a completion bar along the bottom of each of the modules. Participants would also like to be able to receive a printable certificate at the end of each module so that they could show employers that they were being proactive about their condition. The possibility of gaining learning credits through completing the course. We need to ensure accessibility for those who are visually impaired. And also we need to modernise the graphics and the general look of the programme, which isn't surprising because the programme is, I think, about 15 to 20 years old now. So what's next? Well, we're going to explore the service delivery roles and pathways for delivering Making It Work Scotland. So again, that's looking at the access to the programme and talking more about, so we'll be doing this with focus groups with healthcare professionals. Then we will actually design the new and modified aspects of the course. So these two will hopefully be running concurrently, as we can already make some structural changes to the course. Then we will test the acceptability, relevance, and usability with patients. And then we'll do the final revisions before the programme goes live. So I just want to say thank you so much for listening, and please let me know if you have any questions or suggestions or anything else to add.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much. And yeah, it was a really good overview of the whole programme. So thank you. We haven't got any questions at the moment, but we've got time for a few questions. So for everyone watching, it would be great to hear your thoughts on the programme, and if you think it would be helpful for you with your axial SpA when you're navigating work life. But yeah, I mean, one thing I would say, I know I mentioned this when we caught up last week, but I thought it was really interesting how the findings from the focus group really mirrored the consultations that we've had with people with axial SpA and healthcare professionals on self-management in general. So looking at how our resources are going to be easiest and sort of best to use for people, and they've come up with the same sort of things where, you know, they want it to be non-linear so they can pick and choose the information they want, and kind of that short bite-sized content as well. So yeah, it's really interesting that it mirrors that as well.
Definitely, yeah, absolutely. I think one of the key things we found was flexibility is like a sort of cross-cutting theme. So flexibility in terms of asking for job accommodations and employers being flexible, but also actually flexibility of the course and us being, the course itself being flexible. So it's really interesting that it's come up in your research as well.
Absolutely. I think especially when people are living with pain and fatigue, trying to sit down for an hour or so to work through a whole module might be a lot all in one go. So yeah, it's really good. It's going to be more bite-sized for people as well.
Definitely, yeah. It's been a struggle to try and work out how we can chop the modules into sort of more bite-sized pieces, but it's come out time and time again that is something that we need to do. So that's for us to go away now and work out how it's best to sort of put them into different sort of categories.
Absolutely, yeah. I imagine things are so interlinked as well. It's quite hard to separate things out.
Absolutely, yeah. And in terms of that, there's also has been a suggestion where if you wanted, it talks about something that we will talk about in a future module or a further module, and you click on that link and then it brings you to that module. So if you want to read more about this specific topic, then you can find out more of this module. So in a way, it won't be linear because it will be, you could bounce from one module to another to sort of find out more about each different bit.
Sounds like you kind of go down the rabbit hole a bit. I can imagine getting stuck in an evening. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
That's brilliant. We've had a comment from Charlotte. She says apologies if she missed it because she's multitasking, looking after a 3-year-old while watching. But she was wondering where the course will be accessed.
Where it will be accessed. Yeah. So that's still to be discussed, really. We did discuss it in the focus groups. People were suggesting lots and lots of different avenues, and it could be that it goes down lots of different avenues. At the moment, it seems like the general preference is through healthcare professionals, so through your GP or others, and because it sort of validates the information a little bit more. But there could be other avenues, such as going through charities. Somebody mentioned that it could be accessible in a library, in a hard copy as well. So there's been lots of suggestions. Other people saying employers, but the problem that other people mentioned with employers was that people who are self-employed would not be able to access it so easily. So yeah, but that's definitely still up for debate at the moment. But we will be doing further focus groups to specifically analyse that bit of how people will access the course.
Yeah, I can see there's pros and cons to each, and making it accessible enough, but then making sure that the right people are seeing it as well.
Absolutely,
balance to get.
Absolutely, and we do want to make it, accessible to all, everybody who it's relevant to. And so, if we did go down the employer route, then it could quite easily be just for employers that are really large. Rather, so if you have like if you work for a small company, then you might not have as much access to it.
And yeah, to Charlotte and anybody else who's watching, if there are places where you think it would be helpful to access, it'd be great to pop that in the comments and just let us know, and I can feed that back to Amber after the talk as well. And
totally, yeah, it'd be really good to find out that, because we want to go where we want to have it accessible, where people think it should be accessible. So so it's very much you could almost bounce that question back to Charlotte and say, wherever you think would be good.
she's on it. She's answered already. She said through health professionals make sense to her. I can see that definitely.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
that's great.
That does sound like the yeah, thank you very much for that, Charlotte. That's really helpful.
That's brilliant. And yeah, we've got time for more questions if anybody else has any questions. But if you're watching this on catch up, then do feel free to pop them in the comments box, because I can feed them back to Amber afterwards and then share her response afterwards. But yeah, I mean, while we're waiting for any other questions, was there anything else you wanted to add, Amber?
Yeah, so this presentation, or something very close to this presentation, is actually going to go back to all of the focus group participants that took part in the initial focus groups on the 1st of December. So what's that, in 2 days' time, I think. It's on Thursday. And so we're gonna go through this presentation, but in a much slower way over the course of 2 hours. And each slide where we've said the focus group findings, we're going to bring that back to the participants that originally took part in the focus groups and say, what do you think about this? Did we capture exactly what you wanted us to capture? Did we miss anything? And those sorts of things. So as I've said before, this is really preliminary, because this is literally just my initial concept of what we gathered from those 6 focus groups. And quite interestingly, it's after that 1st of December meeting, that's when we'll start to be able to solidify the changes that may need to be made to the programme.
That'll be really interesting to see if anything changes once you kind of dig deeper, and I suppose once people have had even more time to think about it as well, and they may well come back with more.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sorry if you can hear my dog.
That's all right. It's with these sessions, we're very, very relaxed with them. We normally have dogs and cats, and usually my cat trying to join us as well. So yeah, that's been fantastic. And Charlotte's also suggested another place would be at a job centre, because obviously people are kind of showing, you know, that they're proactive looking for work there as well. So that sounds like a really good idea as well.
That's a really good idea. Absolutely. Yeah, that's really useful. Thanks, Charlotte. That's really helpful.
Brilliant, thank you for that. Yeah, so for everyone who's watching, I'll just let you know about our next session. So our next session is going to be on Wednesday, the 7th of December at 1 p.m. again. And we've got a live Pilates class with Ruth Larkin, who is a Pilates instructor who has Axial SpA herself as well. And I know this session, she's done a couple for us before, we're very lucky. And this session is going to be looking at small movements that you can do that make a big difference to improve your muscle strength and therefore your pain as well. So thanks again, Amber, and if you're happy, I'll send on any questions from anyone watching on catch up as well, and we'll pop the video on our YouTube channel, and it will stay on our Facebook page for everyone afterwards as well.
Amazing. Yeah, that's brilliant. Thanks very much, Zoe. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much for sharing the project. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it progresses, and of course once it's out there in the world, we're happily to share it with all of our members in our community.
Fantastic. Yeah, there definitely will be opportunities for that when we're testing the usability of it, so that would be really, really helpful. Thank you.
Fantastic. So thanks again, and thank you everyone for joining and watching, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
Cheers.